Yo, what's up my dudes and dudettes, this is Byron here, and welcome to another episode of Byron's Bios. Now today I will review one of the most underrated Disney films that you may have or haven't forgotten, based on a traditional fairy tale, which is none other than Tangled. So the plot is where we get Rapunzel, who is born with magical blonde hair and a happy family, both the king and queen of Corona. But when she was suddenly kidnapped one night by an evil hag named Mother Gothel and becomes isolated in a tower where she would never go out. In fact, she was actually isolated her entire childhood, and Gothel finds certain ways to keep Rapunzel young. By the time she turns 18, she wonders what the world is like, but she was still forced to be in the tower by her guardian, even when she becomes an adult. Initially, Rapunzel meets this guy named Flynn Rider, who comes to use her tower as a refugee, and she asks him to help her escape. Also, if you haven't seen the movie, I would avoid spoilers at all costs when I mention this if I were you. But after trying certain ways for the couple to find where Rapunzel would be free, and after a bit of a battle that they had with the hag that isolated an innocent woman like her, Mother Gothel finally falls out of the tower and dies, and Rapunzel is finally free and reunites with her biological family. So that's just basically the plot of the film. You know, I enjoyed this movie when it first came out. I did not get to see it in theaters, unfortunately, but I did watch it on DVD and Blu-ray, and there was a lot to the story that Disney did than ever. Even how Disney makes their movie interesting for all ages because of how it appeals to both children and adults alike. And as always, the CGI animation is so good, and for very good reasons. They made it so good that anyone could enjoy it, and it easily became a Disney princess film that people adore today. Even though I'm not much into Disney princess, but they are pretty, I will admit. The storyline is very well done, especially since Disney took a lot of time to make it based on a fairy tale that was told when we were kids. As a matter of fact, that movie was actually one of the most expensive films ever made. And by looking at it and knowing how long it took for Disney to make the film, you can actually tell. Even the voice acting is great from start to finish. They were well maintained, and each cast member sounded perfect for the roles. And I thought Zachary Levi and Mandy Moore did phenomenal as Flynn Rider and Rapunzel. And everything else from the music scores to the writing to even the effort that Disney had put into this film, the company that we know and love had done a fantastic job with this movie that they did. You know, also, I haven't seen this movie in ages, and I remember how great it was when I used to watch this several times. I remember when a video game based on Tangled came out on the Wii. I think we had it once, but we never played it. I know that there are a few adaptations that came along after the movie, like a short film called Tangled Ever After, and a TV show called Tangled the Series. And I'll admit, I've never watched any of them besides the movie that I adored, but I might look into the short film that came out a year after the movie, but not the TV series, which is what I'm already aware of. It even has its own attractions at the Disney parks, which is also interesting. The only exception is that the title did not make as much sense. I mean, it kinda did, but there actually was a different name for this movie. And it is a little bit controversial. You see, this movie was originally going to be called Rapunzel, but there were concerns about the name, as some would view it as gender discrimination, and I never thought it would be that way. But like, the name change is what they did. And I kinda wish they kept the name, but it feels like Disney kinda made the right decision to change the name of the movie to what we all know, if that's what they thought. Despite that, while the movie is great and all, did you know that this formerly isolated and abused woman, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and her ex-boyfriend actually planned and committed the cold-blooded murder that was inspired by this film? All because of one scene where Rapunzel's fake mother dies? Yeah, that's a different story for another day. And by the way, I do think that Gypsy's a liar, but let's not get into that. After everything I covered, I give this movie a 4 out of 5. And like I said, I remember the movie being so good, it deserves a rewatch as I haven't seen it in such a real long time, but I remember the story decently. And if you have a child that loves Disney, I recommend this to them, and I highly recommend watching it if you have yet seen Tangled. You'll have as much comfort as I did when I first watched the movie, and I think this is how you should introduce your kids to Rapunzel. Well, that is my review on Tangled, and thank you so much for watching this episode of Byron's Bios. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next bio, and I will see you in the next movie review and another video. Until then, this is me, Byron, signing off. Double peace.